Many thanks for staying tuned. It's still the conversation here on Lagos Television. You know how we do it on Fridays. We take conversations that are less stressful, also helping you set, putting you in the right frame of mind for the weekend. And today on the program, we're taking a look at something around events planning, event execution. And so today on the program, we'll be taking a look at business of events planning and management. This business, now, for those who are in it, we do have an events consultant in the house, and then she's going to tell us how lucrative this business is if they're really cashing out. Because I hear this, they are cashing out. I'm here, Eme Adiriokun. Thank you for joining us on the program this morning.
Thank you so much, ma'am. It's good to be here.
Okay, all right. So just before we came in, Eme asked, is it recorded or live? And I said it's live. So are you calm now?
I'm calm.
Okay, right. So when we talk about events generally, it means that, those of you who are practitioners in that field, you are generally planning. You're generally bringing to fore someone else's your idea and someone else's idea. But take us through how exactly this works. And so if I'm contracting you to help me plan my event, and then I'm meeting you for the first time, what are those questions that you're asking me, depending on the kind of event I am planning anyway? All right, so take us through that.
Because the first thing, it's good you said your ideas and my ideas,
Right.
because that's what it is. It's a marriage of ideas. Some may be right, some may not be right, It is our job as the event planner to take your ideas and put it on the table, and then put our own professional ideas to bring to fore what you have in mind.
Okay.
Some people have pictures of what they want. It may not exactly be right. It may be, rough. Your job as the expert is to come in and then offer, bring in the expertise, to bring those ideas and say, okay, fine, I want to plan maybe your birthday party or your wedding or something, Okay, this is what I have in mind. This is the client talking. Okay, I want this, I want that, I want that. And you as the expert, you can see that, hey, it's going to be a rainbow if we work with this. So your job is to carefully guide the client and say, you know what? I appreciate that you want your event to be like this,
Right.
but it would work better if we go this route, and this is why.
Okay.
You must take the client along to see how you see what you see. So at the end of the day, it's not a case of, but why did you do this? Why didn't you tell me that, oh, it was going to come out like that? No.
Okay.
So that is your job as event planner.
But then do you still
that.
have very stubborn clients
Oh, yes, they
who
do.
will stick, or who would want to stick to their ideas and not want to work with their ideas? Because again, the question to ask is, if you were going to stick to your gun, why hire a planner
Tell me about
in
that.
the first place? So how do you deal with very, very difficult clients who oftentimes do not want to shift their grounds because, like you said, they have a picture. There's just a mindset of how they want their event to look like. But then you also, as the expert, could also see that if we tour this path, there could be some form of disaster waiting to happen. So how do you deal with such clients? And I know that the women are probably the most guilty when it comes to this. There's some men could
find
also
some
be,
men
oh,
too, but
okay.
yes, mostly the women
Right.
and all. Okay, so this is where again expertise comes in. Your job, this is where we separate the expert event planners and people who just want to just make money. And
Okay.
I don't care. That's what you want, I'll give it to you.
Okay.
But we go beyond that as experts. Now, there are various tools we can employ to show you, give you a visual of what your event would look like. So
Okay.
we use the vision boards, mood boards,
Okay.
So if you're saying to me, use color purple, red, yellow, and all, I will put it
Right
on the
in front
mood
of
board,
you.
and then you can see what it's going to look like. So that kind of helps.
Okay.
So the mood board helps because we'll try and put your pictures, your event to life for you to see what it would look like, and also that kind of checks. Some clients, some very difficult clients, who want to have their way. Some mummies have, we've been planning this thing since. This is how it's going to be,
Right.
and all. And so that helps us.
Okay.
So we patiently take them through, the process with the mood board, how colors come together, how you put colors together, how you arrange sittings, you know, just patiently. It takes some
time, right?
It takes some toll.
Right.
You know, it could be, but
it could be painstaking.
It could be painstaking.
But then when you look at the balance, you're happy doing it.
I wouldn't do anything on the, and I'm serious.
Okay.
I wouldn't do anything.
The money
else.
factor.
Money factor. There are ups and downs, I must say, to it. You know, the event industry is one industry that has little or no barrier of entry, so anyone can be in it.
Right.
You know. Now, what's
but not everyone can stay in it.
Not everyone can stay in it.
Okay.
Not everyone can stay in it. We are here for the long run. So I've been doing this, Lindy's Events, we've been doing this for 20 years now.
Oh, I mean, that's, you know? that's long.
And passion to a large extent drives what you do, how you stay. So those times when your client is driving you crazy and you're like, what did I sign up for? You remember, you do love doing this.
Right.
Money can be good. There are days you do it for no money, honestly, truly, and all. There are days it comes well and all. But what we're trying to do in the industry is to standardize the industry.
Right. Okay.
And that's really our earnest desire. So I belong to an association, APWEM, and that's what we pretty much try to do, to try and put standards
in this, because like you said at the beginning, anyone can come into this, and so if there are no checks and balances, people can also mess things up.
Exactly.
Right. Let's look at how you source for vendors, because again, that is one key area when it comes to events planning. Whatever kind of event it is, there's bound to be food. There's bound to be drinks, and then of course sometimes you could also have a clash of live band and DJ. So walk us through how you source for your vendors, and also peradventure the client also has an idea of who they want to work with or who they would like to suggest with you. How do you also convince them perhaps that you have people who may also deliver better, since you also belong to an association that has a pool of vendors?
Okay, two questions you have there. So one, how do we source for vendors? Referrals, one. Two, when I go for events, I'm an event planner, but I don't really like going for events. If it's work, leave me there. I can stay for hours. But to dress up, no, we're still managing that, you know. So when I go for events, I'm sitting there and I'm trying to check everything, check every vendor, check everything that comes to my table, you know. I would ask for almost everything that comes, and not because I want to eat everything.
Just because
I just want to sample.
Right.
So that's how I get food vendors. So more often than not, you find me collecting cards. If I like your work, I will take your contact, you know. And then referrals too. We have people that have also been there, have tried and tested. Again, I wouldn't take a referral from anybody. You would have to have the same values like I do for me to take a referral from you, because I mean, I believe you think the way I think, and you see things the way I see. So we are like minds, and so I can take a referral from you. So that would be one, how we get vendors. Right. Second, how do we, what was the second question? How do we convince clients to go with our vendors? We try. We don't put our foot down. Like what I do in Lindy's, what we do, Lindy's Events, we would advise. Reason being, the event planner is, for me, probably the most difficult job, because you are responsible for everything that happens on that set. Whether you brought in the vendor or you didn't bring in the vendor. When people come and they ask, for example, who did the decoration? I do decoration too, you know. So if I didn't do the decoration for that job, they're not going to ask who did the decoration. They're going to ask, who is the event planner?
Right.
So I am very careful as a brand on who I work with. If the client insists that this is the person I want to work with, tried and tested, I make you sign a disclaimer.
Yes. To be on the safe side.
Yes, it's very important. Because if anything goes wrong, everybody's going to forget that, oh, I recommended this client, you know, and, you know. But I also try, because, you see, before we get to the point of, the disclaimer is good officially, you know, but for the 101 people that have attended that event,
how many people do you want to explain to?
How many people are you going to explain to? So we try. You know, we showcase, we even go as far as bringing his vendors to do presentations, just to convince the client. Now, what that does for me is just for me to be comfortable. You know, not so much that I must work with that person. But
Okay.
for the entirety of the program, you know, and all, that's why I would rather the client works with the vendors that I've worked with,
okay,
tried and
right,
tested.
right.
You know, people that everybody. I mean, most caterers can cook. So let's say you're a caterer. Oh, and your food is sweet. But some caterers have the expertise of cooking for numbers.
Right.
So even though you can cook as a caterer, you may not have the expertise of
To
cooking
cater
for
to that,
numbers.
okay.
And that's the difference, you know. So so maybe the client has tasted your food for 100 or 50 people. Oh, nice and all of that. But there's a trick. There's something in cooking for numbers.
Right.
That expertise, and you can't throw that away.
Sure.
So we know that. We know the back end. We see the back end, and that back end is very important to me as an event planner.
All right. Let's talk about different events.
Okay.
We did say that at the beginning of the program that there are diverse events. And so what differentiates your level of planning when it comes to different events? So there are weddings, there are birthdays, there are corporate events, there are product launches, there are concerts. And so per event, what are you looking out for? As a planner, because I know that when you plan, you pay attention to details, and that's really, really important. So if you're planning a corporate event, what do you look out for? If you're to take, if you were to take, so what do you look out for? You know, with this different genre of events.
Okay, for me, Lindy's event. An event is an event. An event is an event
An
for
event
me.
is an event.
An event, because small or large, I would not take out expertise. I won't throw away expertise. I won't throw away excellence. I won't throw away details. Those things for me are
very
standard,
important.
whether the event is a small event or big event.
Okay.
Now, what differentiates events? So those three things probably play across all types of events.
Okay.
But for corporate events, coincidentally, when I started my event business, I played in that niche
Okay.
for corporate event for over 10 years.
Okay.
Because I came from a corporate background.
Right, so you had an idea of what you wanted.
Yes, I went
Okay.
straight into corporate events, and I stayed there for over 10 years. You know, much of my staff were like, "Ma, let's move into something," because I'm like, you know what, I like this
This is
place.
what okay.
I understand this place. We speak the
Is
same
it because
language.
it's more organized, or because it's more direct? You do not have issues around, you know, running around different things. But for you, what was it about, you know, the corporate event that made you stay that long, aside the fact that you were coming from that background?
I understood the language.
Oh, okay. So it was less stressful for you.
And then also, with the corporates, it's a case of showcasing the brand of the company, not having to deal with individuals that have 100 ideas. So today you wake up, I want it this way. The next day I want it this way,
Okay.
and all of that. No,
Right.
with the corporate, we have a brand. This is what our brand represents. So
Okay.
in any event that you're doing, you must ensure that our brand is protected.
Okay.
Our brand is represented, and all. So it was easier for me
To deal with.
that.
And probably you're also speaking with lesser people.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
Right.
Yes, because you're dealing maybe like a department, corporate com,
Right.
and corporate com may have maybe like one person, two. At times you have to deal with a committee. I take
Right.
that back, because at times you're dealing with a committee in the corporate world, you know. So whichever one, you know, but it was easier for me
To deal with.
to deal with.
Okay.
You know, but that changed after a while.
So what changed? What changed?
COVID.
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 And then COVID brought its own dynamics, and that was when we started doing the hybrid event. And okay, all right. Before we come back to what COVID has taught us and how we've also coped with that, and so you were talking about what differentiates those events, and then you did stay on corporate events because you stayed there for a while. But again, because you've done corporate events, and then if you were to contrast corporate events and other social events, I'm sure there's still something that it's a flipboard that maybe one has, one doesn't have, and then that makes you treat each event with their own peculiarities.
I would say it's what the brand represents.
Okay.
So the corporate, because in putting together a corporate event, you have to be conscious of the brand. What does that brand represent?
Okay.
What are you trying, because every company, every corporate is trying to send a message across with their events. So it's not just a come party jollof and go, no. There is a message.
Okay.
So you, the event planner, you have to be sure that your event communicates that message, passes across that message to whichever end user that client or that corporate is trying to pass that message across.
Okay.
You know? So that I understood. I mean, it was a comfortable zone for me, a comfort zone, because here I'm coming from a corporate world, you know, it was easy. For the individuals, things are changing now.
Okay.
Yeah. Before then, it used to be, you know, like Bobo Hero kind of thing, you know, that kind of thing.
But now there's finesse.
Yes. Now there's a lot of finesse. And then now, most weddings, most children now are taking charge
they
more
have,
of their events, you know,
than
than parents,
okay.
you know, and all. So you will still find some parents in charge, you know, but more often than not, they will work with the children. So, okay, what do you want? Okay, take half here, take half there, and also.
Or sometimes you give them the engagement, and then you give the parents the engagement, and you allow the couple to have their reception.
So it's a win-win, a win-win for everyone.
Everyone is happy.
Everyone is happy.
Okay. Right. But let's quickly also talk about that, since you've dovetailed into that, and you did say it's getting better. But if you were to take a look at, you know, where we're coming from and where we are now, I know that there's usually that clash of you know, parents who would get the bands, and then the children or the couple who would want the DJ to do most of their things. And so you have that clash between the DJ and the live band, struggling for space, struggling for attention. How has that been resolved?
Oh, event flow. That helps you. So now we have come to accept that we would have a band, we would have a DJ at the same event.
Okay.
So what we do is structure timing. You start, you do, so certain hours allocated to the band. Okay. So the band knows when they come in, DJ knows when they come in. So everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy.
Everybody's happy.
That has solved the problem.
Oh, that has solved the problem. So we know how to work together now. The band and the DJ, they kind of understand when they come in, and we're good now.
What gives you a headache when it comes to planning events? What's that thing that you know you can't deal with?
Maybe some vendor stuff.
Right. Their excesses.
Yes. Yes. You know, it's one thing to say, and in fairness to maybe the brand, it may, so it may just be one unruly staff that you have, you know, that is not speaking the language, is not keen into, you know, the rules or the plan. You know, it may just be one staff.
But that one staff is
able to just throw things out, you know, and all. So that's why we say to our vendors, we have the vendor meetings. We state out what we expect, the do's and the don'ts, you know, and of course we put things in place, you know, penalties here and there, to just ensure that, because it can be a distraction for you, the event planner, so you're not focusing on the core of the event. You're trying to manage vendors and the excesses. So we try and do that before the event, and hopefully everyone keys into it. That's why we are careful to work with certain vendors.
Okay.
You know, and all. So there are times that we have to work with vendors that we do not know, or maybe the clients insist you must work with this vendor and all. So at times we do make you sign, what's it called? What's that thing we call it? Just sign that, hey,
sign something
in the event that,
to hold you more
to exonerate you,
responsible.
and all of that. So, my vendors over the years have come to understand the language I speak, you know, and so when they come on board, they know that, okay, for Lindy's events, this is how we work, this is how we do things, and all. And everybody kind of keys it. But you always have one or two unruly staff, you know, that will just want to do their thing and all.
Okay.
And we just try and find a way how to manage
that. Okay, so when it comes to events management, events planning, the power of collaboration is also very key. So when you're collaborating, who are you collaborating with? Is it possible that you have more than one event planner working at an event? Is that possible?
I've seen it. I haven't done that before,
but you've seen it
yes,
happen.
it's possible in my industry because everyone has their level of expertise, and then depending on the project, if it's a really, really big project, I would take it down and break it, right? Of course, you have the lead event planner. You can't have two lead.
Right.
No, that
It won't
you
work.
can't- it won't work. It won't work. So you would have the lead, and then you have other event planners maybe handling particular areas. So if there's something like which area now? I would say where am I going to?
Can it work for social events?
Like what kind of social events?
Maybe a birthday or a wedding?
Oh, no. Oh,
Okay.
no, that won't work.
That won't work.
You don't
so
need
it
two
probably
event
would be
planners.
for a corporate event
Yeah,
or a
corporate
concert.
event,
Or
a concert. Case in point, a concert. A government project,
Okay.
you know, events, that kind of thing. So case in point, a concert. So you can have the lead event planner. You can have a planner in charge of...
maybe security?
not pretty much, but the artist.
Okay.
So we have people managing the artist.
Right.
You can have, and depending on the size, you can decide to have someone on publication, you know, and also
Media, publicity.
media, publicity, someone handling that aspect of the event. So you can break down the event and then, you know, assign it to other people who have expertise. Now, it doesn't take the fact that you have the expertise,
Right.
but that happens especially when it's a large event.
Right.
You
And
know?
it might just be overwhelming for one person to take this all on.
Yes. So we
Right.
bring in other experts on the board,
Okay.
and then we assign different areas. We break down the event
Okay.
and assign people that have core competence, you know, in those particular areas, and we work together as a team.
Right.
That's what collaboration is about.
Does. Okay,
Yeah.
so take us through budget constraints when it comes to events. And so because you are big on what you do, you have an idea of what it is, and then your client probably has a budget for the event, and you're saying, are you sure this will work? So how do you streamline? How do you also advise that, you know what, maybe we could take this out, put this in, just to ensure that, you know, you're not busting the person's bubble and not making the person feel like, oh, we cannot achieve this with your budget. So how does it work with budgeting and events planning?
Okay. That's a cocoa.
That's the cocoa. Because that's where the money really comes from. So
You know, and all. So in my line of work and years of experience, I've come to understand something. So most clients typically, I would ask. So I've worked with corporate clients longer than I've worked with individual
Individuals.
clients. The corporate clients are more straightforward in terms of they have a budget and all. They would not come out right to say this is what our budget is.
but
Not
give you
hardly.
an idea
You would
of
get-
what's...
Not really.
Oh.
They'll just say this is our plan. This
Okay.
is what we want to do. So go ahead and prepare something for us. Then when you have slaved through all of that and then made your presentation, and that's when, of course, it now comes back, oh, our budget is this, so our budget
Why
is that.
didn't you say that at the beginning?
It helps. It would really help. It would really, really help if they said that to us. To say, you know what?
So that
this
you
is
don't
how-
overplan.
And that we at Lindy's
And then
events,
you
we
overplan.
overplan.
Okay.
At Lindy's events,
You
we put
overplan.
our best foot forward.
Okay, and then we
you
can
know.
then tell you, oh, please reverse.
And then by the time you now say, madam, that's your 100 million. You have to, our budget is 30 million. It's
Okay.
like water over your
Why
head.
did you do that?
We'll go back to the table. Okay, so
Okay.
what is important to you? Your reality is that you can't have this, you can't have this, you can't have that. And the reason why you can't have this is because, so you need to choose what is important to you.
Okay.
We've had to walk away from events.
Wow.
Yes, because you see, for Lindy's events, we are careful that whatever we put out there represents us.
Okay.
We don't do much of advert or advertising, so whatever
But
job
you're
we
doing
do,
so maybe the marketing will give you a quote as you're leaving here today.
oh, I'm scripted.
Go ahead.
So what we try and do is ensure that every event we do speaks to the brand.
Okay.
So at any point, if we think is going to compromise the brand, we will take a step back.
Okay.
You know, but we try, before we do that, we would explain to the client Y, A, B, C, D, E.
Okay.
And more often than not, we have clients that understand. By the time we paint the picture to you, they also see and reason. And all, I'm not sure we've had to walk away from more than 2 events because of budget constraints and all. But I like to put it, I would rather do that than have to do something that doesn't speak to my brand.
Right,
You know, I would rather do that.
Okay.
You know,
Okay, so I mean, a valid point you've raised, but then I also like to ask you, have you also dealt with last-minute arrangements, last-minute contingency plans that you had no idea, you know, it was going to be part of your plan? It could be from maybe not the corporate events, probably will happen more with individuals. Has that ever happened?
That's actually what makes you an expert.
So nothing,
because it happens.
Thrown on you.
It happens, yes. So your ability to be able to take this on and manage. Some you may be able to, some you may not be able to, and that's the honest truth.
Okay.
There are some requests that will come last minute that you may not be able to accommodate.
Okay.
But then again, that's why we have a body like APWEM. APWEM is
your
association.
Yeah,
We're going to get there?
Yeah. No, we're not getting there because that means you have to pay for.
Oh, no. Okay. I will just refer to them because, see, that's what APWEM does for you, where you will have a community of people that you can reach out to. Because at the end of the day, what is important to me is that my client is happy.
Right.
If I have to reach out to my colleagues to help me out if we have a tight situation, that's what we are there for. Okay. You know, to be each other's keepers. And that's the comfort of APWEM. To help one another. To help.
So how does it work when you, I know we've talked about budget, but then do you also have flat rates for certain events, or it is maybe the today's prices that will reflect on how you're billing your clients?
Okay. Billing as Lindy's events, we have a flat rate percentage we take on the event. Now, in terms of line items, now that is subject to what the market is doing.
Okay.
So, case in
point. When you say line items?
Okay. So, as an event planner, let me speak from the aspect of an event planner. Now, not a decorator.
Right.
An event planner. If I had to bring, my job is to bring together experts that would deliver on your event. If we have a budget for the event, and say the caterer, case in point, we know how things are now, food. Right. There was a time in my life on this job that I would drag with my vendors just to ensure that my client gets the best deal. Right. But now I'm careful too, because I also understand what the market is saying. Right. You know.
So you won't want to shortchange the caterer.
No.
But then you also be sure that it's not an overkill.
Oh, definitely. That's, again, what the market expertise and knowledge does for you. So no one can sell me anything that I don't really know about. I know what the market is doing. Okay. I may not cook, but I know what rice is doing. I know what tomatoes is doing. I know the seasons in and out. So I know when things are up. I know when things are down. I know when to press, and I know when to relax. Okay. You know, and that's also the job of being an expert. So you're not also putting pressure, unnecessary pressure on your vendors, because you also want to satisfy the client. Right. You know, and also not putting unnecessary pressure on your client because you also want your vendors. So I'm kind of like in the middle as an event planner.
You are the go-to.
Yeah,
go-to
you know,
person.
there. And also we have to be careful that both parties are well represented and happy at the end of the day.
So are we out of that box that COVID put us in?
Yes, I think we are.
We're back on the socials fully.
We are.
But what did COVID teach us? Or what did COVID teach those of you who are big on events preparation and planning?
There's so many ways to do it.
Be open to new ideas.
Be open to new ideas.
Because no one thought we could hold a party online.
You tell me that.
Okay.
Oh, that's what it taught us.
It really taught us that, you know, anything can happen. Yeah. All right, before we go this morning, are there challenges that you see in the industry that you think are surmountable if there is more collaboration or if there's more understanding between events planners like yourself and the client?
Question again. Are there, what was that word you said?
The challenges.
Challenges, okay. The inroad to events management is kind of open to everyone and anyone. So it means that you can come in without the expertise and the excellence into that industry. And we're okay for anyone to come in, but what we'd really appreciate is that everybody steps up, you know, to deliver their game. That is so important, because it's beyond Lindy's events. I would like to be able to turn around to the left and the right, and I see a group of people who are deliberate, excellent in their deliveries, you know. So that makes the industry, it gives the industry more value. You know, if we have people who are experts and who have excellent spirit in what they do. So when you come in and you don't have that excellent spirit, now, you may not come in excellent, but you should strive to
don't stay the same way you came in.
But you see, we also have clients who would go for those not excellent, you know, and it kind of... Like, so that's
it's a put off.
It's a put off.
It's a put
honestly,
off.
it's a put off.
Right.
You know?
So what have you seen? Maybe attending an event as a guest, and then you saw the events planner do, and you knew that you can never be caught doing this as a planner, or you went, you were at an event, and you know something that you saw, and you looked at it, and you were like, are you sure this event had a planner? I'm sure you've seen so many, so many, but maybe just one that stuck with you.
Vendor management.
That's big.
I think that's really key. That's really key. That's why it's very important who you have on your team.
Okay.
It starts there. Because if you have a team that understands the language you speak, I love excellence, and I try. I may not be 100%, but I try and ensure that whatever I do, I put in my best.
Okay.
So, but again, I can't do everything, and I can't be everywhere.
Right.
So it's very important who I work with. You have to have the same excellent spirit that I have. We have to be speaking the same language, you know. So even with my eye,
you can communicate.
We can communicate.
Right.
That is so important. And because you understand my language, you will pass it on to your staff. So if I speak with my eyes to your staff who is in front of me, they get the message.
Okay. Right. That's where we'd have to leave this conversation this morning. Time is fast spent, and we've been speaking with Eme Aderinyoko, Event Management Consultant. Thank you so much for your time on the program today. They've asked me to wrap up, but in 30 seconds, if you can answer this question, why do we still put RSVP on invites if we really do not follow through what RSVP really means? And so you still have people who get crashed to events.
To their own peril at this moment in time, where, you know, we have all sorts of things. We have cards, we have access cards, we have bands, right. You know, we have the technology now, you scan and all of that. So if your guests,
yes, your guest, your uninvited guest.
No. If you are hosting the event and you require your guests to RSVP, one is for you to plan well.
Okay.
You know, it allows you to plan well. You know who you're planning for, how many. I think it's important we also get, and like with time would evolve. People are used to just walking in,
right.
You know, and all of that. And that would have to stop, because now with all the things we have in place, the bands, those QR codes, and all of that, so you
with the planning for the food.
Yeah, and then so you will not be able to access your friend or whoever, you know, or who has probably switched off the phone or and all of that. So it's important we get there. We need to get there. So
you need to actually just attend where you've been invited.
That again too. That's actually also reduced the
yeah.
I remember the time we used to have a lot of
everybody would just, okay, there's something happening there. Let's also be part of the list.
Yeah, that has reduced.
Again, thank you so much, Eme, for finding time to be here on the program this morning. It's been amazing speaking with you.
Thank you. Thank you for inviting me. I had a good time.
All right. Okay. We've been speaking with, of course, Eme here, and she's taking us through all of the rudiments that we need to know concerning events planning and management. And of course, if that next event, if you were not invited, don't go get crashed. You might just not have access into the venue. Thank you for watching this side of the studio this morning. We'll take a break. When we return, Adebimpe and Joy will take you through their Lagos conversation.